close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Carl Smith from the UK Hypnosis Academy, and I hope you're well, hope you're fine. Tonight, we've got Mr. Stevie Travers over with us. Let me just do this. Mr. Stevie Travers, and he's going to be talking about havening tonight. So those people who don't know anything about havening, you can ask your questions. For those people who know a little bit about havening, then you can just have a refresher with him later on. I'd left that one up there. Don't forget, this is a membership site, so you get access to all the videos behind the scenes. And I just wanted to put these up here. Embrace Counselling and Hypnotherapy with Mandy Jane became a member earlier today, so thanks for joining the membership side. Don't forget, if you want to become a member, all you got to do is go back to the initial page where you join on my UK Hypnosis Academy or on my YouTube channel, and then just click join, and then it'll allow you, and then all of a sudden you'll pop up with a little green. We know who you are. So James is on at the moment, and Carol, they're members, you can see in a moment. So how are you, Steve?
Yeah, keeping good, Carl. Yourself?
Good. Well, you know, just usual, just trying to keep in as much trouble as I can, really. That's the main thing. So right, what we do is, don't forget, folks, give us a shout out so Stephen knows exactly where you are in the world. Oh, and you may realise tonight we are coming from my front room. That's due to the fact of BT decided to make a right foul up of BT telephone lines at the office, so I'm out here tonight. So where are we? Carol, you're first out of the queue tonight. Hello and welcome. James over in Bulgaria. I hope you're well. Hope you're fine. John up in Fife. I hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Tasha, hope you're well, sweetheart. Tracy up in Liverpool. Hope you're well. Hello, you. Hope you're well. Hope you're fine. And don't forget, guys and girls, give us a shout out wherever you are in the world. Don't forget, if you are using Facebook, if you are using Facebook, don't forget to allow Facebook to use StreamYard on there. Now, there's a bit of a sad thing, really, is I think, and I've said it before, I think tonight is going to be my last night, really. My last night is on Facebook, because they are starting to come down on even the music that I played at the beginning. So all the videos, it looks like, that I've put up in the past may well be removed. So I know I'm just getting a message saying that there might be a slight sync problem, but don't worry about me. I'm going to be shutting up in a moment and letting Steve do what he wants to do. So don't worry about that. Let me just go here. Carl Malone, hope you're well. Nicola Dodd, hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Revolution, Tom, hope you're well, buddy. There we go. Sylvia, I hope you're well. I hope you're fine. There'll be no swearing tonight, so your little girl can listen in. So you can. There you go there. Roger, down in Bude. I hope you're well, buddy. Hello, darling, down in Phoenix. Catch up with you soon. Don't forget, guys and girls, I am coming to Los Angeles to do some training in the end of October. So the details and all that lot up there. So, wow, no. So there we go there. Carl, I hope you're well. I hope you're fine. Oh, good. So there we go there. Okie dokie. So don't forget doing that. So while we're just doing this, Stephen, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do? How's that for a start?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so my name's Stephen Travers. I'm the Director of UK and International Havening. I've been using havening now for over a decade. Done about I was counting it there a while ago. I've done about over 15,000 havenings in the last decade, primarily with people with anxiety-based disorders such as post-traumatic stress, panic attacks, phobias, pathological emotions, PTSD, to name but a few. I've also trained hundreds of mental health professionals around the world and therapists, people like psychologists, psychotherapists, hypnotherapists, counselors, EMDR trainers, people who like to do tapping, and coaches. Yeah, I specialize in trauma treatment, and my main, I suppose, role as Director of U.K. and International Havening is to share havening with health professionals, and obviously to train them how to use it in their private practice to get the best results possible for their clients.
Brilliant. So do you want to give us a little bit of history behind, obviously I know about the Rudens, but I'm sure that some of the guys and the girls that have never heard of havening before or have titivated around the edges, where did havening derive from? And who are Ron?
Yeah, havening was developed by my good friend and colleagues, Dr. Ronald and Steven Ruden. Dr. Ron Ruden is a Harvard University academic. He's a medical doctor. He has the largest private medical practice in New York City. And he's also a neuroscientific researcher. And back in 2002, I was actually having a conversation he was with Paul McKenna in New York, and Paul was talking to him about tapping techniques and Roger Callahan's book, Tapping the Healer Within. And Ron, being a medical doctor and a neuroscientific researcher, was somewhat skeptical about the explanation behind tapping meridian points. So he decided to do a deep dive into what makes things like tapping work, EMDR, and essentially how trauma becomes encoded in the brain and the body, and anxiety-based disorders. And over a decade's research, working with thousands of his own patients, himself and his brother, he developed the havening techniques.
Brilliant. So do you want to give us a rundown about what havening is and what people expect to see with you, and maybe even do a little bit of a run through about some of the techniques and the ideas, maybe a little bit of the science and stuff.
Yeah, so havening is a psychosensory therapy for anxiety-based disorders and trauma. When we say a psychosensory, we mean we use sensory touch, where we gently stroke the arms. We call that havening touch, the palms, the face. We do some lateral eye movements and some of the techniques. And we also use pleasant distraction techniques as well. The word havening, well, the scientific name for havening is amygdala depotentiation treatment. The word havening comes from the word haven, like a safe haven. So we're bringing you to a safe place. And it gives clients that felt sense of feeling safe, hence the word havening, and that seemed to stick. Like, to understand how havening works, you have to take a step back and really look at the neurobiological model behind havening in terms of how trauma gets encoded in the brain and the body. And I suppose, to cut a long story short, from Ruden's research, what we've discovered is that anxiety-based disorders and trauma are caused by highly distressing experiences and events, which become neurobiologically encoded in a part of the brain called the lateral amygdala through a very specific type of a receptor called AMPA receptors. And we've figured out through using sensory touch, which is obviously the havening techniques, how to permanently and completely remove those AMPA receptors off the neurons in the lateral amygdala to switch off that fight, flight, freeze reaction that people have, and to ultimately resolve anxiety-based disorders such as your PTSDs, panic attacks, phobias, even issues like chronic pain if they're caused by trauma and unresolved stress. Havening is very consistent in terms of the results it produces. For example, we can resolve most major or even severe traumatic memories, be it from childhood or adulthood, in under 15 minutes. Sometimes it literally takes 5-7 minutes.
Okay, so what is it with havening itself? Do you do you have any restrictions on what you work with? I mean, obviously with hypnosis, I talk about contraindications and stuff like that. Is there anything that you're not looking that you wouldn't work with Havening?
Yeah, there are contraindications with it. Like all the therapists we train, we always talk about working inside your scope of practice.
Yeah.
So obviously, there are medical doctors involved in Havening, so they might work with maybe bipolar or maybe even schizophrenia if they're qualified to work with that. Not necessarily with Havening, but they could do. But like I primarily work with anxiety-based disorders and trauma. The one thing it doesn't work too well with is OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay.
But the rest of them, it's very consistent in terms of the results.
Okay.
Saying that, I am choosy who I work with as well. So
we're still part of the pre-qualification, isn't it?
Yeah,
you have to pre-qualify your client. And it's the same as what I keep harping on this channel as well. People don't pre-qualify people. So there are some people out there that actually want to be sick. They want to be ill. That sounds really harsh, but some people really, really want that. They want to be ill and they want to come to a therapist just so they can say, well, I went to a therapist. Yeah, but you didn't want it. So there's that as well. So yeah, I get what you mean by pre-qualifying. Hi, Daniel. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's right, cool. Yeah, so I get what you mean about pre-qualification, which is really, really important.
Yeah, like the big idea behind what I'm doing these days, like I have an intro event coming up as well on the 8th of September. Excuse the plug, but it's a free intro to Havening, where obviously we're going to do a live demo on a traumatic memory. So we're actually looking for a volunteer from that. So anyone here from this group, if you have a distressing memory or an anxiety-based disorder, be it PTSD, panic attacks, or phobia, do feel welcome to contact me, and there might be an opportunity for you to do the demo.
What's the best website, Steve? Sorry.
The website, if you go to stravershypnosis.com, and if you go to the intro Havening page,
stravers.com.
hypnosis.com.
Hopefully I got that right.
And you can register there, the free intro to Havening. You just put in your name, email, and that will put you on our lists, and we can send you that. There's another link there if you want to go onto the website, look at the free intro event. But yeah, I suppose the big idea behind what I'm doing, and this is like my, I feel like, goal when I'm working with therapists. The big idea really is this: if you're a therapist or a mental health professional, I believe you should really care about just one thing, and that's your ability to achieve the best results possible for your clients as quickly, easily, as effectively as you can. And as it turns out, having the ability to successfully do that, especially consistently, is the difference between a therapist who has a thriving, successful therapy practice and one who does not. And it's really about learning then how to leverage those results, be it through your sales and marketing, to create that thriving therapy practice. So when people do the training with me, obviously you have to be able to do the first thing first, which is to get those consistent top class results for clients. Once you can do that consistently, then you can get your reviews, your testimonials, be Google reviews, Facebook reviews, video testimonials, your YouTube channel, which you do brilliantly well, Carl, where you really showcase what you can do. And for me, that's what it comes down to. They're the two main things. That's my philosophy. Get the best results possible for your clients, and then communicate those results effectively through your marketing. And that's what I teach people to do, and therapists.
Oh, you need to. It's a question for you. Would Havening be considered like something like a pattern interrupt?
It could be, but it doesn't work that way. And I've heard that many times from especially people who do NLP, but it doesn't work that way. That's not the reason it works.
Oh, okay. So do you want to go into a little bit of how you think it works, why you think it works?
Well, I wouldn't even say it's how I think it works. It's from my experience of using it for over decades. As I said, like when we look at anxiety-based disorders, people are presenting with symptoms, be it the panic attacks, flashbacks, they're not sleeping, they're feeling anxious, angry, tense, hypervigilant. And you will invariably always find that there's going to be past traumatic events or experiences that are unresolved, as in there's still emotional charges around those experiences when the client remembers them, be it consciously or unconsciously, that creates symptoms such as, you know, heart palpitating, sweating, knot in their stomach. So really, as Havening practitioners, we're like detectives of trauma, where we talked with Emily before in our last talk, probably about a year ago, Carl, where we're looking to pinpoint, identify the traumatic events where those AMPA receptors became encoded.
Mm.
And when we find those memories, experiences, and past events, we activate them, because when we get asked someone to close their eyes and think of that memory or event, if it's traumatically encoded, those AMPA receptors will activate. Once they're activated, we then would say to the client, open up your eyes, clear your mind, and we begin the Havening touch. And if their SUD score was, say, a 9 or a 10, 0 being calm, we would then use distraction techniques as we're havening them, or they're havening themselves. The distraction displaces the traumatic memory from their working memory. The sensory touch, there's all these receptors in your skin, and that's producing a high amplitude or high amount of delta waves in the brain, which occur in slow wave sleep. And they register at about 0.5 to 2 hertz per cycle per second when you put electrodes in people's heads and actually measure the brainwave activity. What the delta waves do, they go inside the neurons. If you think of my hand as a neuron, and my finger as the AMP receptors, the delta waves, the delta waves open up calcium sensitive voltage channels on the membrane of the neurons in the lateral amygdala. As they enter to create calcineurin, and the calcineurin dephosphorylates the AMPA receptors off the neurons within minutes, and that breaks that neural pathway, disrupts it, and removes the trauma. That's the short version of what makes it work.
So just thinking about it, where is it derived from? Where do you think that initially somebody came up with this idea to use the contact points that you use? And, you know, if you want to, and just go through some of the contact points and, you know, show people, because the reason I say that is because I think, even though we've done this a couple of times, there's people asking questions. Let me just go back. Is that people still don't know what havening is? And this is just one of these things. The question from John is it a form of bilateral stimulation?
No, it's not. It's not working from that perspective.
No.
Like, we have a lot of EMDR practitioners and trainers, especially in the US, who've trained with us. And yet they're using, I suppose, that model of bilateral stimulation.
Yeah.
Like, havening is really about the neurobiology of sensory touch.
Yeah.
And how it changes what's happening in the brain and the body. But at the same time, it's very important to understand how trauma gets encoded, because havening looks deceptively simple. And, you know, from the outside looking in, it looks like people are just stroking and doing distraction techniques.
Yeah.
But if you don't aim the havening at the encoding moment, you'll often get mixed results. And that's the big difference between havening and other models like EMDR and even tapping, is we're aiming to find the encoding moment as opposed to just treating the symptoms. Plus, there's other applications of havening as well, where we work on complex trauma and pathological emotions, such as anger, shame, rage, feelings of feeling not good enough, where there's maybe a lot of childhood trauma, and there's different applications we would use as well. But when you dig into the science, it is complex, and like trauma and anxiety-based disorders are quite complex at times and difficult to treat. That's the thing, and you'll often find, even with havening, people will get great results with it until you don't, and that's where your knowledge comes in. Because if you're just treating symptoms, we often find that the issue won't completely resolve, or it will come back.
No, that's what. Yeah, that's the way I always look. Do you look for? And I remember it's one of Barry's favourites, the root cause. Do you look for the root cause, or do you look at it the same way as I probably do? It's an accumulation of stress rather than just a issue. A issue can tip people over the edge. There's no disputing that. And a issue can cause a problem, but it doesn't mean that it's the root of all evil.
Yeah. There's a lot of like that. It's just semantics, language.
It is semantics, and you know what this profession's like, buddy. It's all about semantics. It's about, no, it's purple, no, it's puce, and all that type of shit. But what I'm trying to say is that, it's what's your thoughts on it? But do you think it's an accumulation of stress, or do you think that just one?
It's both. And from my experience, from the neuroscience shows us it's both, and it's got to do with the landscape of your brain as well. Like people who have a lot of past trauma and unresolved stress issues, or just an accumulation of stress building that's not being downregulated, they have a more vulnerable neurochemical landscape. And from a biological perspective, that means they're more prone to suffering from trauma because they're less resilient. Like their brain neurobiologically is already fragile, as opposed to someone who has very little trauma, or they're not that stressed in their day-to-day life. They tend to have a more resilient neurochemical landscape. And with havening, we're actually changing that landscape through the sensory touch. The sensory touch also produces calming. See, when there's an electrical change in the brain, there's simultaneously a chemical change. So when delta is produced, there's also an increase in oxytocin, serotonin, and GABA, and a decrease in cortisol and adrenaline. When you're highly stressed, your brain, certain brain waves have a higher frequency, such as gamma, and there's an increase in cortisol and norepinephrine. Now that's fine short term, but if you're having that regularly or every day because you're in a stressful job, or you're having, an abusive relationship, and this is ongoing, and you see it as inescapable, there's a high probability you'll become traumatized. So it's both. It can be an accumulation, and it can also be a single, very distressing event.
Yeah, because I tend to, you know how I work, and it's not a case of I'm saying, oh, you're bloody right, because I wouldn't do that to you, that. But I always look at the accumulation rather than just an incident. And I know some therapists are taught to just delve in and try and find a incident. And I'm a firm believer that, with that analogy that I use with the pressure cooker and that side of things, which works well with my clients, is that, is that if we can find out what that is, then it can change the perceptual value. That's what I always mention, is that it just changes that. So yes, there may well be, like for instance, in my life, I had that build up of my military career of going through all of that stuff, but there was the car accident that really, really brought it out. But I don't see that as the root cause. And I had quite a good childhood, I had a lovely, the odd foot up the arse, but nothing special. But to me, I had a great childhood, but it was just my military time and that compressed amount of time there that did it. And I could never ever have put my finger on a incident, except for the car accident, except for that one car accident. Yes, there were several incidents that went on, but that's why I always look at it from the perspective I come at, as it's accumulated stress rather than a single event. A single event can be a massive catalyst, but I don't think that, and it is semantics, but I just think that it's down to that accumulation of what's gone on, maybe in childhood, or any abuse or anything like that, or things like that have gone on that go back to what you just said then, where it just opens them up to further problems in future.
From a clinical practical perspective, the acid test is this. So if you're doing a history intake with someone, I know you don't necessarily do that, and some therapists don't. I do, and I teach people how to do it, how to start to pinpoint, identify where there's potential trauma. Listen to their language, what emotive words they're using. Obviously watch them as well when they're speaking, and their body language, their tone of voice. Do they start reacting or getting upset?
Yeah.
The acid test is this. If you want to check, is there an emotional charge around something? It's very simple in the sense, you take your notes, or people say, I've talked about this in therapy for years, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. And I'm like, well, let's just check it, because it's only going to take 20 seconds. It's close your eyes, think of the memory or the event or the events.
Yeah.
Picture them, associate to them, step right back into them, and tell me, is there a feeling, an emotion, an emotional charge, a sensation in your body? And on a scale of 0 being completely calm and highly distressed, 10 worrying, that's 0 on that scale. Then just close the mat, watch the client. If they say 0, completely fine, there's nothing there, brilliant. But you'll often find when you check and test, there'll be something there.
Yeah.
That's from a clinical practice. I do it on my phone consultations. I check. I start checking then.
See, because the only thing I do, just to come back on that, is that we check for the contraindications first. You know, schizophrenia, bipolar, personality disorders, drinking, alcohol, drug, psychosis, narcolepsy, epilepsy. Even though I work with epilepsy anyway, but they're the country. But that's my intake form, and the reason that I don't offer that digging around is because I like to offer a service to people. And no, I'm not just saying anything about you, Stephen, is that people that have been down that counselling route before, that have had to divulge, and they feel like if they go back to another therapist, their head's going to blow up because they've had to do it enough. And it does give therapists a bad name that continuously do it. So I do get why you do it, but I don't do it because of that very reason. I offer that solution to people who don't want to do it. Doesn't mean I don't give a shit. It just means that I just don't do it.
See, I'm doing it from the perspective of like the Havening model. I'm looking for those encoding moments, be it root cause. I'm looking for those AMPA receptors.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. And then the big test with Havening as well is the debrief. Well, like when you Haven someone and you bring them back to that trauma that maybe 10 minutes before was at a 10 and they were abreacting.
Yeah.
You will find that it will be 0, it will be gone completely. And you can sit with them for 3, 4, 5 minutes and say, do your best and get the trauma back. The emotional component of it, the physical. And when those AMPA receptors are depotentiated, they're gone, they will not be able to access the emotional distress or the physical symptoms. It'll be completely cleared. And then the cognitive component of the memory will often seem like that's the image or the sounds more distant, faded, blurrier, or like they're looking from the outside in. It's like the submodalities of the memory change, which is very much the way NLP works in many of its anxiety protocols. It's a lot of disassociation and association, like the fast phobia cure. But Havening, it's very impressive for a client when they experience that as well, especially if they have done years of therapy, talking about it, and then in 15 minutes, you take something that's a major life trauma and it is gone.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you do it, Steve. I've seen you do it loads of times. I've seen you just do it loads of times. Even when you came on the kinetic shift course, that was nearly 5 years ago, Steve. When you did that, we used kinetic shift. I have no qualms in saying we were running a kinetic shift course. It would not work. And then Stephen came out the front and did a demo of Havening in front of there was 50, nearly 55 students in that classroom, and did a complete demo. And what we couldn't shift, Steve was able to shift. And it was just because it worked with that lady on that day, didn't it? It was, so. Yeah,
it was a memory around, it was around fear of water, swimming.
It was water.
That's what I did. I just went the earliest memory, the most distressing memory. Was a memory when she was a child and she had a drowning event in the water. And yeah, I just brought up the event. It was like, I think it was a 9 on the scale. And yeah, you seen we havened it, and it was about 10, 12, less than 15 minutes gone.
So are you allowed to do any havening tonight with those that are watching this who might want to join in as a bit of a precursor?
Yeah, we can do some havening.
So let's do this first. We're going to do some havening with Stephen in a moment. But what I want you to do is throw some questions in to Stephen while we just give Stephen a quick break, because we give Stephen a quick 2-minute break on his vocal column so he can just adjust himself. But there is a guys and girls, don't forget, if you are using FaceAche, don't forget to make sure that you allow StreamYard to use it. I'm a hypno havening practitioner. Is that what you do? Hypno havening? Is that what it is? Is that the course title, or is that somebody's title?
That sounds like someone is saying that they're using both hypnosis and by the way, for me, the 3 or 4 top modalities that I can find are hypnosis, havening, and I'm also a big fan of NLP, controversially enough, when it's done really well by someone who's very experienced and an expert at what they're doing.
Well, the key thing about NLP is that you've got the original, and then you've got the watered down versions that have happened nowadays, and that's the point. You just look at it now, and there's so many variants of NLP and variations. You're just like, and people just regurgitate it out now. And I always say to people, and I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I always say, if you're going to learn NLP, or if you're going to learn NLP, you go with the 2 people who came up with the concept in the first place. I'd always say go to Bandler or Grindler anyway. All depends whether you're left or right brain, to be quite honest. Left brain, you're going to go end up with Grindler, and right brain, then you're going to end up with Bandler. So at the end of the day, I think you should do that. But NLP's, even the component parts broken down are brilliant to learn. And I use component parts of NLP all the way through my work. So there we go there. How do we allow streaming? Oh, right. How do we allow streaming? If you go out of it and then come back in via your Facebook, or if you want to join us on YouTube, then you haven't got to worry about it. If you go to YouTube, to the UK Hypnosis Academy channel, then we're live streaming there, and it'll come up with your details there, so you can do it that way. It's just a pain in the ass, and like I said earlier, I said I might have to stop. I live in the middle of nowhere, and they've been spraying the fields with let's just say cow shit earlier, and I'm being inundated with shit at the moment with flies. So if you see me doing weird things, it's not some NLP swish technique, not some havening technique. It is the most pain in the ass flies coming in anyway. So there we go there. You can either go to YouTube channel, or you just go out and then press allow StreamYard to access your FaceAche page. John Thompson there is Bandler's holding a course in London soon. I couldn't tell you about that, but yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's about £4,000 or £5,000 worth of course. I think I can't remember what it is nowadays. I can't remember. I don't even know what it is nowadays. I haven't looked for many years. But to be quite honest, if you're going to learn NLP, I would always go with Bandler or Grindler. Maybe people disagree with me. I don't know, but they are 2 very different individuals. Let's put it that way. So, but yeah. Right, so if there's no more questions coming up, what we'll do is just crack on. So how many people got here? 26 people. If you're enjoying your time with Steve, by the way, just let us know with the thumbs up or anything like that. So Steve, if you want to, I don't know if with StreamYard, what is it tonight, but he bloody flies. Let me do this, see if this works. Nope, it'll work that way. I'm just trying to make you bigger, Steve. That works. Here we go here. Let's see if we can do it this way. I wanted to make you big, Steve. That was what it was. Nothing like doing this live on air, is there? All right, and Steve, so you can still hear me. So I don't know if you just want to go take us through the process. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll show you. What I'll do is I'll go through event havening. Now, this one technique is the main technique we use to treat traumatic memories, be it childhood memories. These are like specific, highly distressing events or experiences that someone's still suffering with. This technique can also be used on general stress or anxiety that you're feeling day to day, or any uncomfortable feelings. So we'll do a demo of it and give everyone an experience of event havening. We'll do maybe around 3 to 5 rounds. I don't recommend to take anything severely or majorly traumatic, because obviously this is, you know, it's a call, a webinar. But I would maybe take something that might be bothering you, some sort of stress in your life at the moment, maybe something that happened recently, maybe it's just some tension you're feeling in your body, uncomfortable feeling, or some negative thought, or something that could be bothering you. It could be in your health, your relationships, your finances, anything at all that could be creating some stress. And we'll scale it on a scale of 0 to 10. So I want you to check in, because at the end, we're going to check the difference where you are on the scale as well, and how the memory or thought and feeling has changed. 10 will be highly distressed, the subjective units of distress, and 0 will be calm. At the start, we'll take about 30 seconds for everyone to close their eyes, think of it, to activate the limbic system and the amygdala. Then I'll say to everyone to open up their eyes, clear their mind. Then we'll begin the havening touch together, and we'll start on our arms, hands, and face, stroking like this on the arms, just from the top of the shoulder all the way down, soft and gentle. The palms, pretty self-explanatory. The palms of the hands, circular motions, soft and gentle, and then very gently around the forehead and cheeks. We'll also introduce distraction techniques, so we'll take you away from the negative or stressful thought, memory, or feeling. And I'll ask you to imagine, we'll do it walking on a beautiful beach, like maybe when you're on a holiday in Spain or Italy, or even somewhere in the UK or Ireland, or wherever you're based. We'll do a little bit of humming, like Row Your Boat, Jingle Bells, Happy Birthday, and we'll do some lateral eye movements. Now, the trick with lateral eye movement is not to move your head, but to keep your head still and to move your eyes. The lateral eye movement produces more delta waves in the brain, 5 times more than resting state. I will ask you as we go through each round what number comes to mind on a scale of 10 to 0. And just go with your unconscious feeling, or whatever number comes to mind. Then at the end, if some people are happy to, you can share some of your feedback or experiences, and we may take a few questions as well. So if everyone's ready, I'd like you just for a moment to think of something that may be stressing you, that might be making you feel anxious, uncomfortable. It could be anything at all. And I'd just like you to take a moment and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, and as you hear my voice, I'd like you to think of that negative, stressful thought, or that thing that's making you feel anxious or uncomfortable. Picture it in your mind. Bring in any sounds. Notice the way you feel, the emotions or feelings that are there. Maybe the feelings in your body or sensations. And think of the worst part of it, the part of it that makes you feel most distressed or most uncomfortable. That's it. Go to the very worst part, the most distressing part. And then notice on a scale of 0 to 10, how uncomfortable you feel, how high it goes. Go to the very worst part of it, feel it, sense it. Then open up your eyes, look at me, and then just gently clear your mind. Take your palms, put them on your shoulders, cross your arms, and begin gently stroking. You can look at me from the top of the shoulders all the way down through your elbows. And only do it downwards. Think if you were comforting a child, maybe petting an animal, it could be your cat, your dog, and keep stroking. And then gently close your eyes and imagine walking out onto a beautiful beach or park on a sunny day. Could be your favorite park, could be a forest or a beautiful beach. Just imagine walking along that beautiful, calm place. And with every step you imagine taking in this peaceful place, count out loud from 1 to 20, and I'll count with you, starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Relaxing with every step. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Keep stroking, and then I'd like you to sing or hum Row Your Boat with me. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. It's okay to smile or laugh a bit or giggle because it can seem a little bit silly. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Keep stroking the whole time, and as you keep stroking, open up your eyes. Keep stroking, look at my finger. Gently move your eyes laterally to the far side of the room, and all the way to the left, and all the way to the right, and all the way to the left, all the way to the far side of the room, to the right, to the left, 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 then one more to the right, and gently to the left, then gently close your eyes and continue stroking, taking in a slow, gentle breath. Just focusing on that soft sensory touch, like you're gently hugging yourself. That's it, just keep stroking. And notice on a scale of 10 to 0, what number comes to mind right now? First number that comes to mind. Then you can open up your eyes, and this time we're going to do some palm havening so you get an experience of the 3 key points that we do havening touch on. So with the palms, it's gently massaging the palms of your hands. You can gently washing the palms. So there's all these receptors in our skin, and we're just gently stimulating them. Soft, gentle touch. Then gently close your eyes and keep massaging your palms. And then together we'll count backwards down from 30 to 0 in 2s out loud. And I'd really like you to visualize and picture the numbers relaxing with every number. Starting at 30, 28, 26, 24, 23, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 3, should I say 2, 0. And as you keep stroking, I'd like everyone to sing or hum Twinkle Star with me. Make sure you keep stroking the palms. I'm going to go with Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Up above the world so high. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Keep stroking, open up your eyes, keep stroking. Look at my finger again as you stroke, gently move your eyes laterally to the right. Far side of your room, then to the left, then to the right, then to the left, then to the right, and to the left, and all the way over to the right, laterally, and to the left, and to the right, 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 left. Gently close your eyes, keep stroking, taking in a slow, gentle breath. And again, notice on a scale from 10 to 0, what number comes to mind now. First number that comes to mind. Then open up your eyes, look at me, and let's gently move to our face and do some face havening. Now the face produces the highest amplitude of delta waves or amount of delta waves in the brain as compared to resting state. In fact, 90 times more than resting state. So gently massaging around the forehead and the cheeks. So if you're gently washing, caressing or massaging your face. That's soft and gentle with your fingertips and palms. Then I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and I'm going to do a little distraction for you. I'm going to call out movie stars and actors and I want you to visualize them. I'll do about 20 and I really want you to picture them and what movies they're in. So I'm going to start off, I'd like you to picture Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Cameron Diaz, Julia Roberts, Daniel Craig, Elizabeth Taylor, Liam Neeson, Roger Moore, John Wayne, Richard Gere, Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, Bruce Willis, Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze, Macaulay Culkin, Clint Eastwood, Marilyn Monroe, Marlon Brando, Christian Bale, Eddie Murphy, Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Colin Farrell. So gently keep stroking and we'll do one more little song. Let's just do Happy Birthday together. Happy birthday to you. Keep stroking. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stephen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I know it was Carl's birthday recently. Happy birthday, dear Carl. Happy birthday to you. Keep stroking. To move back down your arms, you can look at me for a moment. Keep stroking, long, gentle strokes, almost like a Swedish massage. That's it. All the way down from the top of the shoulder, all the way down to the elbows. Open up your eyes. We'll do our final eye movement all the way up to the right. Keep stroking to the left, laterally all the way to the right, to the left, 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 and stroking again. Close your eyes, keep stroking, soft, gentle strokes, taking a slow, gentle breath. And we'll just finally end. I just want you to imagine being by the beach again, or your favorite place, somewhere very calming, peaceful, where you feel very relaxed. And just picture the scenery, the images, the sounds, and the feeling of being in that calm, peaceful place. And even in your mind, think of the word calm. Even say it out loud, I am calm. Calm, as you imagine being in that tranquil, peaceful place. Calm. 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 This is called affirmational havening. It's one of the most simple havening techniques. This is very good for building resiliency and for working on positive emotions and feelings. And when you're ready, you can very gently open your eyes up, maybe take a little stretch, or if you want to drink of water, then we can take a moment or two and bring Carl back in and maybe have a chat again. And, we'll share, if people are happy to, maybe what experiences you've had, how far you've gone down the scale. We can check the memory as well. We'll do that in a moment. We'll ask everyone to close their eyes, do a quick check on what has changed in the picture, the feeling, and we can do some questions as well.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great thing. So, folks, I know you're just getting yourselves together after that, but what I would like to see in the comments is that, did you have a change from, let's say, 10 down to 0, 8 down to 4, whatever? Did you change something? If you calibrate now with yourself, have a look at the memory, have a look at the feeling, look for the feeling, and all those type of things there. Just go back and have a look at the thing that you were working with and calibrate with it and see how you're getting on. And see what happens. And by the way, we've got 2 people in detention tonight. While people are just doing that, Stephen, the New Zealand crew have turned up 1 hour late for their lesson. So they are in detention as of now. Dr. Collette, I expect more of you, young lady. And dear sir, oh dear. John, down from a 9 to a 3 with an issue there. That's cool. Anyone else got anything for us there? 9 to a 3 is good. And don't forget, folks, is that if you are doing this for the first time, your friends are there, and you're friends of mine on FaceAche, and you've never done anything like this. Don't ever think that this is dumb ass shit, or this is childish. Actually, it's the simplest things that actually do work. The stuff. So when you are doing the singing, don't forget, you don't have to, if you're in front of your friends and that, you don't have to sing it out loud. It does help, but on the same token, you can do it in your head. You can just sit there and go in your head, and do it that way. I tell people to do that when we're doing any of the tapping sequences for emotional freedom techniques, to do that. So if they are at work and something's happened, they can do it, in the background. I don't know if that's something you teach, Steve.
Yeah, like the distraction, it displaces the traumatic memory or from the working memory. It's taking you away from it. It's actually giving you an escape from it. And the more distracting, the better. Yeah, 7 to 0, that's very good. The gentleman who mentioned 9 to 3, there's a high probability if he did another round or two off it, because obviously, you know, I am aware of time, so I didn't want to go on too long. But if I think it was, maybe his name's John, if he did another round of that,
Yeah.
you know, the recording later, another round or two, you'd highly likely get it down to 0. By the way, golden tip: if something doesn't go to 0 and it gets stuck on a number like a 3, there's a very high probability there's a preceding trauma that comes before it. That,
Okay.
from a neurobiological perspective.
I just had to check something just then, but Casey, I don't think you realise what you put there. I know, Casey. Thinking of making S&M videos 10 to a 2. Anyway, I'll just let people think about that for a moment. Right, gosh, do you have to do lines? Yes, you've got to haven yourself until your arms fall off. All right, and you've got to produce said arms to Stephen at the end of the week. Social media, yeah, whatever. Thinking of making S&M videos, whatever.
Laura, can I just jump in? I might be a bit bold or cheeky asking this, but can I just do one more round of havening? Just one quick one? Do we have time? Maybe we don't.
Yeah, you fill your boots, buddy. I'm just sitting here just doing this.
Everyone is there, okay? Because I'm noticing people are getting to 0. Some people are at 3s and 2s. We're going to do one or two more rounds to see if it makes a difference. Because I like 0. So when you're ready, close your eyes. Just follow me here. If you're not at a 0, close your eyes again. Even if you are at a 0, you can close your eyes and check the memory in regards to what has changed in the pictures, the sounds, the feeling, the emotion, be it emotionally, physically in your body. And the people who are at like 3s and 2s, think of the memory again. And notice what the 2 or 3 is about, the emotion or the feeling. Maybe there's a cognitive part of the memory, the picture or sound. So just connect with it. Sense it, feel it. Now open up your eyes, look at me, clear your mind. Take your palms again. Let's begin stroking all the way down the arms. That's it. This time I'd like you all again to close your eyes, clear your mind, and this time I'd like you to imagine walking up a beautiful staircase, maybe in a 5-star hotel or a palace, maybe somewhere like Buckingham Palace or a beautiful castle, maybe just a beautiful hotel you've been in, or on a lovely holiday. You're walking up staircase with 20 steps. You're going to walk up that staircase now, and with every step you imagine taking in your mind, count out loud from 1 to 20 as you walk up the staircase, starting at 1, 2, keep stroking, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And you're at the top of the staircase now. Then I'd like you to hum. That's the Old MacDonald's Farm for the fun of it. You can hum it or sing it. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had some ducks, E-I-E-I-O. With a quack quack here and a here, there, everywhere, everywhere, quack quack. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had some cows. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Keep stroking. Open up your eyes, look at me, keep stroking, long, gentle strokes. That's all the way down. Now look at my finger and move your eyes gently to the right, laterally to the left, and to the right, and to the left, and to the right, and to the left, then to the right, then to the left, then to the right, then to the left, then to the right, then to the left. Make sure you're stroking the whole time. to get those delta waves going into the neurons, then to the right, then to the left, then to the right, all the way to the left, then to the right, to the left. Then gently close your eyes, keep stroking, taking in a slow, gentle breath. And again, we're going to just end this by imagining or remembering a very peaceful place, a place where you love to go to that's very calming, beautiful, tranquil, serene, relaxing. Picture that calm place. Make the images big and bright. Remember the sounds, even the smells, and that felt sense of feeling of being in that calm, peaceful place, that beautiful place. And just keep stroking. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and come all the way back out. And what I'd like you to do is just notice again how you're feeling in your mind and body. Some people might be feeling a little bit sleepy, yawny. Some people might feel their body has changed. They might be feeling lighter, maybe heavier. Some people might have sensations like little tingles in their hands, or sometimes people get even temperature changes in their body. Just notice, but close your eyes and think about the thing that was bothering you or stressing you out. And again, notice what the differences are in terms of how you picture it, the sounds, the emotion, and how you're feeling in your body. Just take a moment and do a check. And just notice what's different and what has changed and how you're feeling. And if you'd like to share some more feedback, or we can take some questions, whatever we want to do, Carl.
Yeah, here we go. All right. So Casey definitely isn't. She wants to do social media videos. That's what she. Oh, sorry, it's Daniel. Daniel, yeah, social media. Sorry, that's Casey. She wanted to do social media, not anything else. Videos. Rather strange for a havening thing. Stephen, do you ever use bilateral eye movement when the eyes are closed?
We can do it with the eyes closed, as in people can close their eyes and move their eyes to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. But once again, when we hook people up to electrodes, if you look at the work of Mel Harper, look at the academic paper Taming the Amygdala, because Mel Harper did all this work, and Ron did some work with him. When they did lateral eye movement, they found that produced a higher amplitude of delta as well. The arms do about 12 to 20 times more delta than resting state. The hands do about 5, and the face do about 90 times more. But there's also that extrasensory component that goes back to when you were born as a baby. When babies are born, they come out and they cry. Nature is kicking in. The baby's saying, "Don't abandon me." Oxytocin is produced in the mother's brain to bond with the child. "Give me my baby." And when the baby's put into its mother's arms, that sensory touch from the moment of birth lets the baby know, that touch lets the baby know it is safe. It's not going to be abandoned. And that's hardwired in us from the very beginning when we're born. So there's that extrasensory component of feeling safe, cared for, and loved that ties in with havening as well. It makes it so effective.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody here is just pointing out, it makes me sleepy and nauseous. Heard that before?
Yeah. See, it depends. Like when we work with anxiety issues, sometimes there can be a somatosensory component or autonomic component of nausea in relationship or attached to the problem or the memory. So nausea can can be part of a trauma. Generally, havening doesn't cause nausea, but certainly it's very common. It can make you very sleepy. And it's saying that it's obviously very difficult to say because I don't know what the issue is you're working on. I don't know your history. I don't know. I only see as Facebook user, so I have no context there. But with nausea, we do transpirational havening. That's where you close your eyes and you start chanting out the emotion or physical sensation you're feeling. Now, what that does, everyone, is that can bring up memories from your past that emotion is still tagged to. So you could talk about something like, I feel nauseous about the situation, or I'm angry about the situation with my family. And then as you chant out the word angry, and as that clears, a memory from your past, maybe 30 years ago, maybe when you were a child in relationship to your mom and dad, when there was rage and anger, can pop right up where there's still a lot of rage and anger about that's unresolved. So it's like a hypnotic regression that way. Havening can bring forth those unconscious memories into your conscious awareness by chanting out the emotions and feelings. And as you chant it out, it helps to release it, and you get depotentiation through the sensory touch. And that's one technique a lot of people actually don't see because we don't really share it online. But it's one of the most powerful havening techniques for working with complex trauma and childhood trauma and pathological emotions, especially when there's a huge amount of trauma and we don't go through every single memory. We will go to transpirational havening, or when there's more like kinesthetic feelings or emotions.
A couple of questions that have come up, mate. Am I right in thinking this is about is one more way of collapsing anchors?
It doesn't work from the perspective of collapsing anchors. It's not work. That isn't why it works.
Okay, cool.
Everyone tries to put our model on. It works because of this way, because I've done that. That's not the reason why it works.
Okay, cool. It feels really comforting to me to continue the arm stroke past the elbows, down the lower arm, ending up at my hand stroking together. Is that a beneficial way to do it?
Yeah, some people do this.
Yeah, that's the way I've always done it.
Some people like to do. I just find it a little bit, personally, it's very subjective. I just don't. I find it a bit twisty. Maybe my wrists aren't the most mobile, but yeah, it's fine to do it down. But the key parts from the shoulders down to the elbows. But you can do that, and some people do that. Yeah.
See, and that's the key. And also as well, you can see the agitation if you're calibrating with a client. When they start doing this, that's when you know if you're doing that. What you've got to do is slow it all the way down so you're getting the sensation and bring it all the way down as well.
And you can pace and lead people doing this as well.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like clients can achieve, excellent results with this under the direction and guidance of a practitioner, which makes it the ideal therapy in some ways online, because you can do it with anyone, anywhere on Zoom.
Brilliant.
You don't have to be in the room with them.
Okay, final question, because we are going way over now. This was answered at the very beginning. No. Can it help with OCD? Well, I suppose it can help, but I suppose what you're saying, Steve, is that you don't have great results.
It can help, but the problem with OCD, it can reduce the OCD, but the OCD tends to come back.
Okay, cool.
The thing that we've had some success with OCD where it has completely cleared, but OCD, it's generally more complex and difficult to treat.
Yeah, I think so as well. Okay, I've just got one more thing here. Is light or heavy pressure?
Generally, I'd say in between. You want to be doing it with a healing intention. So I would say you want to do it until it's subjective, that it feels comfortable, that it feels nice, like you're giving yourself a little hug, like a little massage. So you have to. Some people do it a bit faster because that's just their personality. Some people do it very slow. Some people firmer, lighter. The bottom line is until it feels nice, until it's feeling calm.
There are so many. Somebody just sent me a text message. I am not repeating what was just said then. John, you just saw what was going on there. Yes, he did jump. All right. He did jump around. Yes, he did. I tend to do it as well. When I used to teach hypnosis, it was like 5, 3, 1, down. And to be quite honest, most of the clients don't recognise anyway, so don't worry about that. But yeah, it's just another way of doing it. Folks, have you enjoyed that? Steve, have you got enough out tonight? The last question I am going to bring in here, by the way, Tingly Fingers, does it have to be a nursery rhyme, or can it be Metallica or Evanescence? Do it, yeah, really.
It can be any song you like that you have a positive association with. You just want to be careful with certain songs. So certain songs can be related to past trauma. Like we have done Happy Birthday with certain people and they've triggered them, or something, or a Christmas song and they had bad experiences around Christmas. So we do a distraction inventory when we're working with clients, and that can give you really valuable clues. When people tell you, I don't like Happy Birthday, you take a note of that and go, well, I wonder why, or I don't like Christmas. That's giving you that's valuable information. But I do want to mention that on the 8th of September, 5 p.m. Ireland, UK time, 6:30, we're doing the Introduction to Havening for Healing Trauma event. We already have over 300 people registered on Zoom. You can register for that. It's for therapists and mental health professionals only. Obviously, everyone here is doing some sort of therapy. And then we have the 2-day certified Havening practitioner on the 22nd and 23rd of October, live online. That's from 9 to 5 p.m. So that's 2 days where I do live demos of all the different techniques. You guys go into practice groups of 3 on Zoom. One person's the Havener, one person's the Havenee, one person observes. We have a team of facilitators as well who'll be in the groups with you. And then we come back to a Q&A, and we work on real trauma over those 2 days and anxiety-based disorders, PTSD, panic attacks, complex PTSD trauma, chronic pain. And then you get like the Havening primer, the manual. We give you a bonus video training, and you also get to do the certification process. And I act as your mentor during that. And as I said at the beginning, and I'll finish with this at the end, my aim when I'm working with a therapist during the Havening is to teach you how to get the best results possible for your clients consistently and effectively, and then how to leverage those results through your marketing. Like I've got 75 5-star Google reviews from clients I've worked with, and I could have many more. But a lot of people, it's hard to get Google reviews, as you know. There's 82 reviews on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook business page, and then you'll see lots of reviews as well from the therapists who've done the training, what they have to say. So I teach people how to do the sales and marketing end, because my background originally in my 20s, I was a sales and marketing coach until I got panic attacks, which then led me into what I do now. So everyone has a story.
Mate, it's all in the preparation. Prep. That's what it is. Prep the clients up, tell them you want them to do it, and job done in it, really. And you do it as well, you know, at the end of the day. It's about having credibility out there. It's about being nice to people and doing credible things as well. That's the key thing. And last question is, was ist the Kosten für die certification?
It's 1,200, well, it's 1,195 euro, 1,195 euro, but there is an early board of 995 euro at the moment. That includes the certification, the 2-day training, and the mentoring with me, where you send me your case studies, you send me 2 videos. I'm also going to do a certain percentage of people who register early. We already have a dozen people registered. I'm going to give them a 1-to-1 50-minute consultation with me. And when you get certified as well, there is a small fee of $99 a year. That's to have the license and to be part of our community. But there's ongoing practice groups, coaching and support, and specialized trainings where we go deeper into certain areas like chronic pain. So there's all that stuff you get with that. But at the moment, it's 995 euro at the early board.
Brilliant. Good. So, guys and girls, don't forget, go out there and go prep yourselves really, and get, and get out there and go do what you're doing, you know, and enjoy this. I love havening, and it's about the third time I've had Steve on, to be quite honest, and we love having you on, mate, and discussing it and stuff like that. And I use elements of havening when I'm working with people and teaching about, you know, just the psychosensory touch, talking about that. And so it's all good. But thank you very much tonight, folks. Don't forget to put a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Well, put a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, go and join somebody else's channel and irritate the shit out of them. But on the same token, we've had a lovely night tonight. Steve, thanks very much. Don't forget, folks, 8th of September 2022. We don't know when this video is going to be aired. Even if you are watching it at a later date, go have a look at stravershypnosis.com and meet up with Stephen. Go learn off of Steve. We've had some great collaborations in the past, and it's good fun. So, folks, me and Steve, thanks very much for joining in tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a little note if you've enjoyed yourself, and we'll catch up with you later on. And don't forget, same as with havening, go out there and go practice, and when you finish practicing, guess what? Go practice some more. Folks, enjoy it out in this crazy ass world. Be safe out there. Much love to you and your families. See you next Monday, and I'll speak to you then. All the best, folks.